was 26 years old and already a millionaire. By 27, he was making $1 million a week. By 30, he had a mansion in the Hamptons, a 167-foot yacht, a helicopter, 5 cars, and a drug habit that cost him more per month than most Americans earn in a year. His name was Jordan Belfort. His firm was called Stratton Oakmont, and the $200 million he made, he stole from over 1,500 ordinary people who trusted him with their savings. Hollywood turned his life into a movie. He got to play himself in it. This is the story of the real Wolf of Wall Street and how he got away with almost everything. Jordan Ross Belfort was born on July 9, 1962 in the Bronx, New York. He was not born into money. He was not a finance prodigy. He was not a Wall Street legacy kid with a father who called in favors. He was a hustler from Queens who sold Italian ice from a cooler on the beach at age 16 and made $20,000 in a single summer. He tried dental school. He quit after his first day when a professor told him that dentistry's golden age was over and there was no money in it anymore. What Jordan Belfort wanted, more than anything, was to be rich. Not comfortable. Not successful. Rich in a way that felt like a movie. He got a job as a trainee stockbroker at a legitimate firm in Manhattan called LF Rothschild. He learned the business quickly. He learned the phones. He learned how to sell. Then in 1987, the stock market crashed. LF Rothschild collapsed, and Jordan Belfort found himself out of a job. He ended up in a dingy strip mall office in Long Island, working for a firm that sold penny stocks, the cheapest, most speculative shares on the market. Shares in tiny, obscure companies that barely existed. The commissions were enormous. The oversight was almost zero. And Jordan Belfort discovered something that would change everything. He could sell anything to anyone. In 1989, at just 27 years old, Jordan Belfort co-founded Stratton Oakmont with his partner Danny Porish. The name was pure theater, Stratton Oakmont. It sounded like a 200-year-old British institution. It sounded like old money and mahogany desks and portraits of founding fathers on the wall. It was actually a boiler room on Long Island, a warehouse packed wall-to-wall with young, aggressive salespeople who had been trained by Belfort to do one thing: get on the phone, and do not hang up until they buy. Belfort recruited young men, mostly from working-class backgrounds. He paid them enormous sums. He trained them in his personal sales philosophy, a word-for-word script he called the straight line system. Every objection had a counter. Every hesitation had a response. Every call had one goal: close the sale, get the money, move on to the next victim. At its peak, Stratton Oakmont employed over 1,000 brokers and was generating hundreds of millions of dollars in commissions. The office culture was like nothing corporate America had ever seen. Belfort ruled it like a king and a drug dealer simultaneously. Sex, drugs, and cash were the currencies of reward. Midgets were thrown at Velcro dartboards at company parties. Exotic animals were brought into the office. Prostitutes were brought into the office. Belfort himself was consuming a cocktail of drugs so extreme, Quaaludes, cocaine, morphine, and others, that he was functionally incapacitated for entire days. There is a scene in the movie where his character drives home from the country club so high he cannot remember making the journey. That scene is based on something that actually happened. But underneath all of it, a crime was being committed at massive scale. The fraud Belfort was running was called a pump and dump scheme. Here is how it worked. Stratton Oakmont would quietly accumulate large positions in tiny, thinly traded penny stocks. Shares in small companies where even modest buying activity could move the price dramatically. Then Belfort's brokers would get on the phones. They would cold call thousands of investors, doctors, teachers, retirees, small business owners, people who had worked their whole lives to build some savings and who had no idea what a pump and dump was. The pitch was always the same. This stock is about to explode. We have inside information. Our clients are already making fortunes. You need to get in now before it is too late. They were not inside information. They were lies. But the brokers were so trained, so relentless, so convincing that people bought in. And as more people bought, the stock price rose. And as the price rose, more people bought. And when the price was high enough, Stratton Oakmont dumped their own shares, sold everything, pocketed the profit, and the stock collapsed. And the investors, the doctors and teachers and retirees, lost everything. This happened again and again across at least 34 different companies over 7 years. Over 1,500 investors, $200 million stolen. One of Stratton Oakmont's most notorious stock manipulations involved the shoe designer Steve Madden. Stratton Oakmont took Madden's company public and used the IPO to run the exact same scheme, pumping the stock and then dumping it while ordinary investors were left holding shares worth a fraction of what they paid. Steve Madden himself was later convicted of fraud and conspiracy charges tied to the scheme and served 31 months in federal prison. The National Association of Securities Dealers had been watching Stratton Oakmont almost from the day it opened. They fined the firm. They sanctioned it. They issued warnings. Belfort paid the fines like parking tickets and kept going. The FBI eventually opened an investigation in the mid-1990s. Belfort's response was to move his money offshore. He used a network of foreign bank accounts, primarily in Switzerland, to hide his profits from the government. He used his wife's aunt, a woman named Patricia Ticker, as a nominee to open accounts in her name. He smuggled cash across borders in luggage. He also bought a 167-foot yacht named Nadine and promptly sailed it into a Mediterranean storm so severe that the Italian Coast Guard had to rescue him and his guests. The yacht sank. Jordan Belfort was living at a speed that could not last. In December 1996, the NASD expelled Stratton Oakmont from the securities industry entirely. Officials called the firm one of the worst actors in the history of the securities business. A firm with an obvious and complete disregard for the rules of fair practice. The firm closed, but the investigation was far from over. In September 1998, federal prosecutors in the Eastern District of New York indicted Jordan Belfort and Danny Porish on multiple counts of securities, fraud, money laundering, and obstruction of justice. Belfort faced a sentence that could have put him in prison for the rest of his life. He chose to cooperate. He agreed to wear a wire to meetings with former colleagues. He recorded conversations. He gave testimony against 29 former partners and subordinates. People who had worked for him, partied with him, gotten rich with him, and he handed them to the FBI. In 1999, Jordan Belfort pled guilty to conspiracy to commit securities, fraud, and money laundering. In exchange for his cooperation, prosecutors recommended a reduced sentence. On July 18, 2003, Judge John Gleason sentenced Jordan Belfort to 4 years in federal prison and ordered him to pay $110.4 million in restitution to his victims. He served 22 months at a minimum security federal facility in Taft, California, where, by his own account, he spent his time playing tennis and writing the memoir that would eventually become a Hollywood blockbuster. He was released in 2006. The restitution, $110.4 million owed to over 1,500 victims, has been paid back at a rate that advocates have called embarrassing. As of recent years, Belfort has repaid a fraction of what he owes. He has argued over accounting methods. The government has had to drag him back to court to enforce payments from his speaking fees and book royalties. The people who lost their savings, the teachers, the retirees, the small business owners who trusted the voice on the phone, have received pennies on the dollar. And Jordan Belfort? He wrote 2 best-selling memoirs. He sold the movie rights to Martin Scorsese. The film starred Leonardo DiCaprio, earned 5 Academy Award nominations, and grossed $392 million worldwide. He now charges up to $30,000 per appearance to speak at corporate events about sales technique, leadership, and success. The man who stole $200 million from ordinary Americans built a second career teaching other people how to sell. And the victims? Most of them are still waiting. The Jordan Belfort story raises a question that the American legal system has never satisfactorily answered. What does justice look like for white-collar crime? Belfort served 22 months. His victims lost life savings. Some lost their retirement. Some lost their homes. He left prison and became famous. The system gave him every incentive to cooperate, which is how prosecutions work, and there is logic to it. His testimony helped convict others. That matters. But there is something deeply uncomfortable about watching a man get rich twice from the same crime. First from the fraud, then from the story of the fraud. The Wolf of Wall Street is not a cautionary tale for Jordan Belfort. It is his origin story for Act 2. The real victims of Stratton Oakmont did not get a movie. They did not get a book deal. They did not get to speak at conferences. They got a check. If they were lucky, that covered maybe a fraction of what was taken from them. And they got the experience of watching the man who stole from them become a celebrity. That is the story of Jordan Belfort, the Wolf of Wall Street. A man who turned fraud into fame, and fame into a second fortune. And the people he robbed? They are still out there, still waiting. If this story made you think about how easy it is for a convincing voice to take everything you have worked for, check the link in the description. Protecting your identity and your financial information has never been more important. Subscribe to Dark Ledger. Every week we go deeper on the crimes, the frauds, and the scandals that shaped the modern world. The next one, you won't see coming.